Due to the outbreak of COVID-19, the Business Bounce Back Loan was launched by the Chancellor Rishi Sunak, and applications for the loan have now been extended to the 31st of January 2021. If you have not already done so, please click on the card above to watch parts 1 and 2 of our Business Bounce Back Loan series. In this video, we will cover a refresher on the basics of a company director loan. Can I take out the funds my company receives from a bounce back loan as a director loan? Can I use the funds from a bounce back loan to repay an existing director loan? Before I get into today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell to make sure you're kept up to date with all of our latest content. This really helps us to produce more helpful videos and to get you free quality advice from real qualified accountants. So what exactly is a director loan and how does it work? If you as a director take a loan from your company, that is, you borrow money from your own company and transfer it into your personal bank account for your own use, then this is in effect a loan to director. Your company records an asset, in other words, money it is owed, and you, the director, become liable for this amount. In accounting terminology, this sometimes can be referred to as either a beneficial loan to director or even an overdrawn director loan account, depending on circumstances. A director loan account needs to be repaid to your company 9 months after the end of your company year. So for example, if your company year ends on the 31st of March and you as a director borrowed, say, £20,000 on the 5th of January of the same year, you will have until the 31st of December in the same year to repay the loan in full, or you will be subject to a Section 455 tax charge. A Section 455 tax charge is at the rate of 32.5% of the outstanding loan amount and is payable by your company. It is a temporary withholding tax, and the good news is that it is refunded back should you repay the loan back to your company and properly declare this to HMRC, even if it's after the 9-month period. Now, there is nothing to stop you as a director in taking a director loan from your company per se. Furthermore, if your company has successfully taken a business bounce back loan, let's say the full £50,000, and used either all of or a proportion of these funds as a director loan at some point after receiving the bounce back loan, once again, there is nothing restricting you from doing so. Remember, a director loan is just that, a loan that is theoretically repayable to your company. And again, if you do not repay the director loan 9 months after the end of your company year, your company will be subject to a 32.5% withholding tax on the full outstanding amount. Now, you will still have the business bounce back loan lender as a creditor on your company balance sheet, and this will need to be repaid in accordance with the terms and conditions of the bounce back loan. If in the future you manage to repay the bounce back loan, then the likelihood is no questions will be asked of you as a director, as you are meeting your company obligations and debts as they become due. However, if you struggle or become unable to repay the bounce back loan, and this forces you to consider liquidating your company, then your conduct as a company director will be examined. The fact that you took a director loan and did not repay this back to your company, having taken a bounce back loan prior to this, will definitely be scrutinised. We suggest you watch part 2 of our series that will explain what could happen in this scenario. Click on the card above. If you already have an existing director loan account, then funds from a business bounce back loan, funds coming into your company, will not really make a difference. Let me explain further with an example. Let's say you borrowed a director loan from your company on the 1st of August 2020 for £50,000. Therefore, your company records an asset, i.e. money owed to the company, and reduces the amount of cash in the bank by the same amount. It is you, the director, who owes your company £50,000. So if your company then receives £50,000 from a bounce back loan, let's say on the 6th of September 2020, it is your company that has taken the loan, not you personally. Your company cash increases by £50,000 and a creditor is recorded as your lender for the bounce back loan received. Your situation between yourself and your company with regards to the director loan does not change. So technically, you cannot really use funds from a bounce back loan to repay a loan to director. What in theory can happen is that if your company is subject to a Section 455 charge at 32.5% of the outstanding amount of the loan, then the bounce back loan funds can be used to pay this withholding tax. But again, this could open a can of worms with HMRC should in the future your company struggle or become unable to repay the bounce back loan either in part or full. However, if you have lent your company funds as a director loan, then this is another matter and will be covered in one of our next bounce back loan videos. With a business bounce back loan, you, the director of your company, are in control of the decisions you make. The terms of a bounce back loan stipulate, we undertake to use the credit granted on the basis of this agreement only to provide economic benefit to our business. We also confirm that the bounce back loan will be used wholly for business purposes and not personal purposes. If you decide to use the bounce back loan for a director's loan, then again, no one is watching your every move. If your company goes on and recovers, makes sufficient funds and profits to pay the interest and repay the loan in accordance with your terms and conditions, then it's highly unlikely any questions are going to be asked of you. However, if your company runs into difficulty and struggles and is unable to repay the loan in full or in part, that is when your conduct as a company director is more than likely to be brought into the spotlight. I hope this video has helped you think a little deeper about the business bounce back loan and taking you one step closer to knowing your numbers. As always, let me know in the comments your thoughts on today's video or if there are any topics you'd like us to cover in the future. Finally, be sure to like and subscribe, and this really does help us to get our content out there. This is Tony D'Angel for the Accounting and Tax Academy, and as always, thanks for tuning in.